Assalamu alaikum. I hope you're doing well. Today I'm going to explain osteomyelitis. Osteo stands for bone. Myelos stands for bone marrow. And itis stands for inflammation. So what we have is an inflammation of the bone and bone marrow together. If we have infective organisms, it can be pyogenic or non-pyogenic. The pyogenic form is pus-forming, and the non-pyogenic form or type is not pus-forming. Pyogenic, for example, the Staphylococcus aureus. And non-pyogenic, which is not pus-forming, for example, Mycobacterium tuberculosis. If it is involved in the vertebral spine, then we have the so-called disease, Pott's disease. So, there are different types of the route of entry of bacteria into our body, or especially into the bone, as we have the topic today, osteomyelitis. In children, the most common pathway is the hematogenesis pathway. We have here a bone. This part is called the diaphysis, and here we have at the top, and here epiphysis. In the middle, when bone is when there is a part which is still forming, this is the metaphysis. This is the part that is still growing. And this is the most common site for osteomyelitis for children, which can also occur in adults. This in the middle is the endosteum, and this in blue is the periosteum. Okay, so this is the part or the site where it is involved in children. In adults, as we said, okay, we have the metaphysis also. But the most common site for adults is the vertebrae. Okay, so the infection, this is the first type, okay, or the most common type, and we can also say the infection can also come from minor infections such as tonsillitis. And if we have tonsillitis, the bacteria can go into the blood. And if we have the bacteria in the blood, we have the so-called bacteremia. This is a common phenomenon. So then we have phagocytosis, which kills the bacteria. But on the other side, if the bacteria still lives or still remains, okay, these bacteria, they love to settle in certain areas in children, in certain areas, in children in the metaphysis area, and in adults in the vertebrae area. Okay, I hope you understood till now what I mean. The second route of entry, or in another type of the route of entry, is the direct extension from the neighboring soft tissue. Or direct, or I wrote like, or direct, yeah, soft tissue extension, I wrote like double. Okay, so for example, if we have a tissue infection, if it is not treated well, it can damage the periosteum. If it damages the periosteum, osteomyelitis can happen. Okay? So, or another example, if we have a diabetic food. So, a vascular disease can develop, which decreases the blood flow. And if we have a decrease of the blood flow, ischemia can happen, which can lead to no defense against the microbes. And if we have no defense, osteomyelitis can happen. Another way of the diabetic food, or which can happen due to a diabetic food, is damages the nerves, damages the sensory motor nerves and the autonomic nerves. And if these nerves are damaged, it can lead to loss of pain sensation, which can lead to a situation where the patient is not aware of the food, neither if any injuries happen to the food itself. So the patient will not take care of the food anymore. If the patient is not aware, conscious enough that there is an injury in the food, infection can easily settle and osteomyelitis can occur. I hope you understood it. We have here the tissue infection, we have here the diabetic food. Another route of entry is if the bacteria is directly planted into the bone. For example, if we have a penetrating injury, which is very simple. Or the bacteria can be directly planted into the bone during a surgery. If we have, for example, the orthopedic implants or open fractures of bone. So this is like a small summary of what osteomyelitis is and what the pathways could be. If you have any questions, please write it down in the comments below or write me on Instagram. I would be grateful. Until the next time.